What if I told you that everything you're doing to fight your anxiety is the very thing keeping it alive? That's not an accusation. It's a neurological reality. The more you desperately push, wrestle, and struggle against those feelings, the deeper you carve those anxious pathways into your brain. It's a brutal paradox. Your war against anxiety is the ultimate fuel for its fire. But why does this happen? Let's break down the science behind this cycle and, more importantly, how to step out of it. First, the mental quicksand effect. Have you ever heard of the white bear problem? It comes from a classic psychology experiment where participants were told one simple instruction: do not think of a white bear. And what happened? They could think of almost nothing else. This phenomenon is called ironic process theory, and it reveals a fundamental glitch in our attempts at mental control. When you tell your brain not to do something like, don't feel anxious or stop worrying, you have to keep checking in to see if you're succeeding. And that very act of checking keeps the unwanted thought or feeling right at the front of your mind. Fighting anxiety is like struggling in quicksand. Your instinct is to thrash around violently to get out, but that struggle is precisely what makes you sink faster. The resistance creates more tension, the battle drains your energy, and the focus on the danger of the feeling magnifies its power. You become hyper-aware of your own heartbeat, your breathing, your thoughts, and this hypervigilance screams danger to your nervous system, creating a vicious feedback loop. What you resist truly does persist. Second, you're not broken, your brain is just doing its job too well. To understand why this happens, we need to talk about a revolutionary concept called neuroplasticity. For decades, we thought the brain was like a fixed circuit, hardwired in early life. But we now know the brain is more like clay, constantly reshaping itself based on our experiences, thoughts, and what we pay attention to. Every time you think a thought or feel an emotion, a specific set of neurons fire together, creating a neural pathway. The more you travel down that path, the wider and more defined it becomes, making it the brain's default route. When you constantly focus on, analyze, and fight your anxiety, you are, in essence, running an intense workout for your brain's fear circuit. The amygdala, your brain's little alarm system, becomes hypersensitive. It learns that these feelings are a significant threat because you're giving them so much airtime. So, you're not broken. You've just unintentionally become an Olympic-level trainer for your own anxiety. You've built a superhighway for anxious thoughts, while the pathways for calm and safety have become overgrown trails. The good news? Neuroplasticity means you can build new roads. Third, the wisdom of letting it be. Insights from Morita therapy. So, if fighting is the problem, what's the solution? This is where we can draw profound wisdom from an approach developed in Japan in the early 1900s by Dr. Shoma Morita. Morita therapy was influenced by Zen principles and has a core idea that is both simple and radical. Stop trying to fix your feelings. The goal isn't to eliminate anxiety, which is seen as a natural part of life, but to accept its presence and act anyway. It's about changing your relationship with the feeling, not the feeling itself. Morita therapy teaches that feelings are like the weather, they are uncontrollable natural phenomena. You cannot command the rain to stop, but you can put on a raincoat and go about your day. Similarly, you cannot command anxiety to vanish, but you can allow it to be there in the background while you focus on what truly matters to you. This isn't resignation, it's liberation. You unhook yourself from the exhausting tug-of-war with your inner experience. The goal is not to feel better, but to get better at feeling. Fourth, rewire your brain through action, not affirmation. This is where neuroplasticity and Morita therapy intersect beautifully. The therapy doesn't ask you to think your way out of anxiety. It asks you to act your way out. When you feel the familiar surge of anxiety, the practice is to first acknowledge it without judgment. Ah, anxiety is here again. You allow it to exist without grabbing onto it or pushing it away. Then, you gently pivot your attention to a constructive, meaningful task in the external world. It could be as small as washing a dish, sending an email, or taking a 5-minute walk. Each time you do this, you are performing a revolutionary act of brain rewiring. You are deliberately choosing not to light up the old, familiar anxiety superhighway. Instead, you are sending a tiny spark of energy down a new pathway, a pathway of purposeful action in the presence of discomfort. With repetition, that new path gets stronger. The old anxiety circuit, starved of attention, begins to weaken. Your brain doesn't unlearn anxiety by fighting it. It learns a new way of being by living. How to put this into practice? From warrior to observer. Okay, this all sounds good in theory, but how do you actually start? The shift is from being a warrior, constantly battling your inner state, to becoming a curious and compassionate observer. Here is a simple 3-step practice you can start today. Step 1. Acknowledge and name. When a wave of anxiety hits, instead of tensing up for a fight, just notice it. Mentally say something neutral like, "I'm noticing the feeling of anxiety," or "the worry story is playing." This simple act of naming creates a sliver of space between you and the feeling. It's not you, it's an experience you are having. Step 2. Make room for it. This is the core of acceptance. Instead of trying to shove the feeling out, you consciously make space for it. Imagine the feeling is a nervous guest in your house. You don't have to like that it's there, but you can stop fighting its presence. You can say, "Okay, you can be here for now," and then you stop engaging with it. Breathe into the physical sensations, allowing them to be there without needing them to change. This is how you drop the rope in the tug of war. Step 3. Redirect your attention to your life. With the feeling now in the passenger seat instead of the driver's seat, gently shift your focus back to the world around you. What is one small thing you can do right now that matters? It's not about distracting yourself so the anxiety goes away. The anxiety might still be there, and that's okay. The goal is to live your life alongside it. Engage your senses. Feel the warmth of the coffee cup in your hands. Listen to the sounds outside your window. Focus on the task in front of you. This is how you start building that new neural pathway, one small, value-driven action at a time. This journey isn't about achieving a state of permanent calm. That's a myth. Life will always have its challenges. It's about building psychological flexibility, the ability to feel all of your feelings without letting them call the shots. It's realizing that your life is bigger than your anxiety. You are not a warrior who needs to conquer your inner world. You are the sky, and anxiety is just the weather passing through. Have you been caught in this paradoxical struggle with your own feelings? Share your experience in the comments below. Your story could be the one that makes someone else feel understood. And for more insights into the psychology of a meaningful life, don't forget to like and subscribe.